Good morning. Nice to meet you, Eleanor. How are you?
Good morning.
My name is Vanda, and it's such a pleasure to be here with you and to be able to do this interview. I know that you had two sons go through our program, correct?
Correct.
So congratulations. You must be a very proud mom. So, for the starters, could you please introduce yourself? Give us a brief overview of you and the kids. Where are you guys from? What age are the boys, and how did they get into tennis?
My name's Eleanor Rusher, and my boys who play tennis are Azariah and Agassi Rusher. We are from New Hampshire, and we moved down here. We've been training down here quite a bit, but we moved down to Florida in April of 2020. At which time my older son Azariah was 16, and my younger son was 12. And so we met Sharik playing tennis, and then we kind of joined him at that point. So it was pretty early on. I feel like we've been there from the beginning and loved every minute. So, and then my younger son, he was young. They only dealt with ATP players and, really strong older guys like my older son. And we would just watch and watch. And then eventually my younger son, Agassi, um, had some players to hit with and joined in. And at that point, he's been part of the program ever since.
So you actually answered my second question. It was, so how did you hear about access tennis? But you can still answer like the second part. So what drew you to the academy?
You know what? I think my understanding is it was just developing then. So it was really Sharik Khan who drew us towards the academy because at the time that was being developed, he had his nephews who were high level players, and he was just working with a very few select players at the time, which I loved. And as a result, when Azariah started to join that group, it just was the right next step for us, for sure. The timing was perfect. And at that point, working with Sharik helped us get to the next level.
How would you describe your son's development, both as athletes and individuals, since they joined our academy?
Good question. Every child is different. However, there is a definite, there is a level of maturity that is absolutely required, necessary to be in this group. If you don't have it, they're going to provide you those guidelines for sure. And it's up to the player to make those decisions to see if they're going to give the tools that they offer. So, in that regard, the coaches put responsibilities on them, sometimes outside of tennis, maybe on in a tournament or how to prepare. And those are testers, and the coaches really watch. So I feel, listen, in tennis, you grow up real fast, period. So I believe the coaches put you in positions and have conversations to really push them developmentally.
What aspects of the academy's coaching and training program stood out to you the most compared to other academies in the area?
Um, a few things. And of course, we were part of the growth of it. They had high level players, for one, who were committed to tennis, right? And that is us. We are committed to tennis. That is the first thing. The ratio of kids to tennis was low, and the focus was there on each player, regardless of how many. I mean, the guys are on the court all the time. Um, Also, you put the work in, they notice. So there is a return. Okay. So it's a two-way street. And so if you really want to succeed, they will put the time extra. They put the time in anyway, they'll put the extra time in as well. So those were um, the few things that started in the beginning. And as we grew now, I mean, they push you and
Hmm.
they're going to put you on uncomfortable positions. Also, I had to relinquish being the mother and in charge of all of this to them to say, okay, that doesn't feel like the right decision for me, but I'm going to follow it. You got to be able to, drink the
Right.
Kool-Aid. Okay. And so that's another part of it. And that's not easy for all parents.
How did the academy help prepare your kids for the transition of different stages with their academic careers?
One is you have to be, they push you to be like malleable, right? So you're going to play in hard court, on grass, on clay, or carpet, you don't know. And so you know, we would have to be flexible. It's going to rain here or not rain there. You got to get on the court. You got to make sure, just like a tournament. And so that part of we train at 7 a.m. and it's not light
Mm,
yet. Train at high noon and you're sweating your butt off. And you train at 5 p.m. and you're tired. So it gives every scenario possible in order to make sure that the player can deal. Some can, some can't. So that's one thing. I mean, developmentally, I think also, they're like second parents. They spend
right.
more time with the coaches than with my
Mm,
husband. And as a result, they do help shape who they are. And and so if that animal instinct comes out, if it's being not cheating, if it means to be a better person in terms, or be on time or not be late. I mean, all of those things are helping them developmentally.
right.
And it's a help to me as a parent. I mean,
Hmm. So, can you share your thoughts on founders of Axis, Chris and Sharik?
So
Hmm.
I started saying Cherie because that's how we first met. And then, Chris was dealing with high level players, I think traveling a little bit more. So we didn't come to have experience with him a little bit later. Outstanding because he would, Sharik was on tour, but then, Chris is on tour more recent. So the elevation, this club, your game doesn't, work well to go to that location. Oh, and then like Mike Agassi needed his serve, so they just like focused on that. So they breathe things I don't see, right? So I'm going to go to a tournament, and they just have, Chris has that experience all over, and then also, now Zane, who's also a coach,
Hmm.
it's lovely to see him back on the court because the kids just to be next to him, to rub shoulders with someone like that, it motivates them, right? I'm going to go and I'm going to try and beat Zane. I mean, that's the name of the game. So we're very, very happy. And they're always available, always. And as busy as they are, always on the court, they're always available.
How did the academy keep you as a parent informed and involved in your son's progress and development throughout their time here?
I mean, you would get that text. Please call me. Oh, shit. Okay. Either it's good or it's not. So um, they they do keep you informed. I mean, there are certain things that we say as a team in front of the player, and then we say things as the coach and the parent. It depends on the age, right? So now my son is, I don't get involved. He has to make the decisions with the coach, and then I see if I can afford it. I see if the timing works. I see, those things. So it's a triangle. With my younger son, he has to be at the maturity level to be able to take the information from the coaches, different coaches, assimilate it to what works for him, communicate to me what is necessary, right? And then
Hmm.
I say, wait a minute, let's have a discussion. But always like, hey, call me, or this doesn't work, or he's feeling pain, or he's compensating, and I
Hmm.
don't see that. So I feel the communication is good, but I also put it on the player as part of their development. They also have to be the one communicating because they're getting it from the coach for 2 hours.
For parents who are new to the world of competitive tennis, what would you say are the key advantages of joining Axis compared to other academies?
You know, it's a commitment. I will tell you, they have, so it meets everyone's needs. So you have homeschool kids, you have kids that are in brick and mortar, you have kids who go half day, so they offer so many different sessions that it could meet everyone's needs. They offer fitness, on court, off court, so there is, it's the whole package, and things are still coming to be even more offer, like as far as an educational component. So I'm a little bit on the tail end of that. So this is one-stop shopping. You have access to hard court, access to clay. Depends on what tournament you're in. You train on that surface prior to the match. I mean, there's everything. I think having all of that and everyone work together to know what your kid's development is
Hmm.
helpful. If you have a coach here and then the physio there and that one here and he's doing, that gets complicated. And I can't expect the coaches to be on top of that. So I
Right.
believe that it's one-stop shopping. I will tell you, I have been to various academies, and the access has grown tremendously for the obvious reason. They're offering an amazing product, but even with the growth, they're still giving. I feel like it's from the day one. So let's leave it at that.
So this will be my last question.
Okay.
Can be very confusing for all the parents as there is a lack of information out there. You have had now two kids that have been very successful in their tennis and academic careers. What would be one piece of advice that you could give to the parents out there?
Well, now that I started at a young age with them and they're growing. I mean, college. I didn't know what we were in for college, what was going to happen. They guide you through that process. I mean, to me, that's pretty amazing. The context they have, how they set up for your child to be exposed to the college experience or to be recruited. You know, that was something I never expected. I wasn't even searching for, and then there it is. If the child or these people are going to go competitive, I mean, tennis in your corner, are you kidding me? I mean, it's a golden ticket. So if tennis is the goal or the route that you want to take, I thought that part was amazing. I'm going to be better prepared for my second kid because it was overwhelming at the time.
Mhm.
So that part is good. Also, this was hard, and I think for parents, they're going to say, Chris, or no, you can't play this tournament. We're ready. We finally make main draw. We're so excited. Pull out. If you have to really go deep to be able to do that, and I know because I've done it, that you don't want to because you try so hard to get to that point. But when they're not ready, you have to believe they're not ready. And
Mhm.
then, so I've done it now with both, and it was hard as anything. And then so many things. Oh my gosh, it's a cheaper place to go to. I have friends there; they could live. I can, all these things are in my favor, and they say don't go. But there's a reason, and they have their thoughts of why. And I'll tell you now that I'm on the other side of it a little bit, you got to drink the Kool-Aid because it's not easy to pull away. But the success comes from being able to make those decisions with the coach. And that was the hardest transition for me because I'm like, no, we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep going. Doesn't matter. He's injured. He gets through it. And then problems happen. So if you want the long term, you need to make the decision short term, and it's not easy. We have local tournaments, Battle of Boca, which is a great way to have kids. They come and observe the matches. I mean, how great that your coaches see. That's the thing we didn't have in New Hampshire. Our coach was amazing, never saw them compete. So there's a disconnect there, right?
Yeah.
They're watching the matches, they'll give you feedback. So that too we have it all right here in South Florida where they are. So just last thing I wanted to mention, because I think if as parents start looking, that was something I would want because I work, I can't be driving all over and
Right.
doing these things. It's very, condensed, I should say. So that
Yeah,
was my
no,
last.
that's all the questions. Thank you so much for finding the time and answering all those questions. I'm sure like it's gonna benefit to some parents out there that are deciding, that are maybe new, perhaps to even young athletes when they're gonna watch this interview. So I just wanted to thank you so much again.